The human mind often struggles to comprehend the sheer capacity for cruelty that can exist behind a quiet suburban door. This is Dark Reflex. We like to believe that evil requires a grand stage or a monstrous caricature, yet the most haunting stories in our history are rarely found in folklore. They are found in living rooms and bedrooms, hidden by thin walls and the silence of neighbors. Today, we peel back the layers of a case that shook the United Kingdom to its core, a story that remains one of the most harrowing examples of human depravity ever recorded. If you are captivated by the darker corners of investigative truth, hit that subscribe button and join the community where we uncover the stories that the world prefers to forget. We are looking at the life and the final agonizing weeks of Suzanne Capper, a young woman whose name became synonymous with a descent into a living hell. Before we dive into the details, consider this. What happens when the people you trust turn into your captors? Suzanne Capper was just 16 years old in 1992, living in a world that felt like it was closing in on her. She was a teenager, navigating the complexities of social circles in Manchester, England, when she crossed paths with a group of individuals who would ultimately destroy her. At the center of this web were Bernadette McNeely and John Gillespie, two women who held a volatile influence over a social circle that operated outside the boundaries of empathy and law. To understand why this case remains so deeply disturbing, we have to look at the motive. It was not a grand conspiracy or a targeted hit against a high-profile figure. It was a petty, senseless dispute over a minor social slight. It began with an accusation of theft, a claim that Suzanne had taken a coat that did not belong to her. In the twisted logic of her tormentors, this was not something to be resolved through conversation or police intervention. It was a reason to initiate a systematic campaign of psychological and physical destruction. For 7 long weeks, Suzanne was held captive in a house on Beresford Road. The isolation was absolute. She was kept under constant watch, her movements restricted, and her dignity stripped away piece by piece. Imagine the psychological toll of being surrounded by people who have decided that your life is worth less than nothing. Each day brought a new iteration of violence, a calculated effort to break her spirit until she was no longer a person in their eyes, but an object to be discarded. The reports from the subsequent trial detailed horrors that are difficult to articulate without feeling the weight of the tragedy. They subjected her to beatings, to the humiliation of being paraded through the streets, and to a level of psychological warfare that was intended to make her feel entirely alone in the world. As the weeks dragged on, the atmosphere in that house thickened with the stench of malice. The perpetrators were not acting out of a single moment of rage. They were acting with chilling deliberation. They would hold meetings, discuss their next steps, and laugh while their captive suffered in the next room. There is a profound darkness in the realization that human beings can compartmentalize their actions so effectively, going about their days while keeping a girl in a state of constant, unbearable pain. Friends and associates drifted in and out of that house, witnessing fragments of the horror, yet the wall of silence remained intact. Why did no one speak up? Why did the society surrounding this house fail to notice that a girl was being systematically erased? This is the central mystery of the Suzanne Capper case, not the identity of the killers, but the terrifying fragility of the social safety net. The breaking point arrived in December 1992. After 7 weeks of relentless abuse, her captors decided to end the facade. The events of those final hours are the stuff of nightmares. Suzanne was driven to a secluded wooded area near Werneth Low. It was here, in the cold, unforgiving darkness of a winter night, that she was doused in gasoline and set on fire. The image of that moment is one that the investigators involved in the case would never be able to unsee. Yet, in a final act of staggering resilience, Suzanne did not die immediately. Despite her catastrophic injuries, she managed to walk a distance, collapsing only when her body could no longer sustain the trauma. She was found by a passerby, a ghost of a girl emerging from the trees, her skin charred, her spirit nearly extinguished. In those final moments, she was able to whisper the names of her attackers to the emergency responders. Even in the face of death, she provided the key to unlocking the mystery of her own end. The trial that followed was a grim procedural exercise in justice. The courtroom was filled with the heavy silence of discovery as the details of the 7-week ordeal were laid bare. The jury heard testimony about how the group had treated Suzanne like a prisoner of war in their own home. Ultimately, the law caught up with the architects of this tragedy. Bernadette McNeely and Jean Gillespie were convicted of murder, receiving sentences that reflected the severity of their crimes. However, for those watching from the outside, the conviction provided little comfort. The question of how such a thing could happen in a modern city remained, leaving a lingering, sour taste of existential dread. We are left to wonder if the seeds of this cruelty are always present, waiting for the right social conditions to flourish, unchecked. The case of Suzanne Capper serves as a grim reminder of the importance of vigilance and the dangers of allowing toxic groups to operate in the shadows of our communities. It is a story that forces us to examine our own roles as witnesses to the lives of those around us. Did we look away when we should have looked closer? Did we ignore the signs that something was truly, fundamentally wrong? The legacy of Suzanne is not just the tragedy of her death, but the challenge she leaves behind. To be the eyes and ears for those who are being silenced by the darkness of others. As we conclude this investigation, it is vital that we carry the memory of these cases with a sense of responsibility. We seek the truth not for the sake of voyeurism, but to ensure that the patterns of the past are recognized and challenged. If you found this exploration of the truth compelling and wish to continue unraveling the mysteries that define our history, ensure you are subscribed to Dark Reflex. Your engagement allows us to keep digging deeper into the cases that demand to be remembered, the stories that shape our understanding of the human condition, and the mysteries that still echo through time. We delve into the archives of the forgotten so that the truth is never truly lost to the archives of the ignored. Reflect on the story you have heard today, talk about it, and consider the weight of the silence that allows such things to persist. Keep looking for the answers that lie beneath the surface, because someone, somewhere, always knows the truth. The question is, are you ready to face it?